What's up, everybody? James Gunn's Superman is soaring to a great opening weekend here, and I think he actually told us who the next villain that he's going to use in his next movie is going to be. Let's dive in. First off, I know the movie just came out a couple days ago, but this video will, of course, have a couple of spoilers for the movie in it, so if you haven't seen it yet, save this video and come on back once you have. Alright, with that out of the way, there's a specific scene in the movie that sparked this idea in my head, and it's not even like a major scene in the movie. Funny enough, it's when we're down in the pocket dimension and we see the monkey bots that have the mind control devices on and make up Lex's bot farm, the super ship monkeys. I think it's going to be revealed in the sequel to this movie, whether that be World's Finest or whether it be just Superman 2. I think it's going to be World's Finest, but regardless, the technology used there was created by one Anthony Ivo. I know he's more, associated with Star Labs in the comics and Silas Stone, but I'm a DCAU kid, so he's a LexCorp, Luthor Corp scientist to me. That works here in the DCU in my opinion because with Lex being shipped off to Bel Rev, the floor is set for Ivo to go from scientist to mad scientist. Maybe he was promised that his inventions would be used to change the world or something along those lines, and so now he feels his brilliance was misused, and that's going to lead to him proving his brilliance in the worst way possible. He could become obsessed with Luthor the same way Lex was, or I guess rather is, with Superman, and that would lead to him just trying to one up the fallen billionaire in every way possible, which means he'd know about Metamorpho being used as kryptonite, and also he'd know about the clone of Superman who was supposed to match his power. Why does that matter though? Because that's going to be Ivo's inspiration for Amazo in the DCU. The super ship monkeys, they could even slip in there and be his inspiration for his little robot monkey, the one he has in Young Justice, but the big one here, it is Amazo, the power copying android who can even copy Batman's fighting abilities, and that's not in all continuities, but when nanites are involved, he can, and there's another one up, considering Lex created the engineer using nanites, and he was very specific about using nanites in the movie. But in that same breath, you can also use Ivo and Amazo as a way to bring Lex back into the fold in a future project, not this one, but one after it, and once he's out of Bel Rev, so he can have Luthor Corps create the Amazo virus. He used that to give humans powers for 24 hours, upon which they perish, so kind of the opposite of the glass slippers in Cinderella, but it feels like the perfect story for David Superman as Lex just tortures the people of Metropolis to get at him. Going back to Ivo in this next project, though, I think there's a world where you can also see Metamorpho coming back and being involved as he and Superman, I feel, are going to have a strong bond in the DCU, with Supes, of course, having helped save baby Joey. So, and this goes back to the kryptonite and everything with that, we could see Ivo create both Amazo and Ultramorpho. Now, in the comics, the creation of Ultramorpho is a bit more intricate. It's not as simple as just Ivo creates the android. Ivo and William Magnus, well, Magnus, he's forced into this, but they create this new version of Amazo, Amazo 2.0, or New Mazo, they go by both names, only for him to take them captive and create Ultramorpho. So Ultramorpho is created by this second Amazo. All of that, it was a part of a plot to take out some of the world's businessmen while framing Metamorpho specifically for the murder of his father-in-law, Simon Stagg. But what if in this adaptation of the story, you move Maxwell Lord into the place of Stagg as Metamorpho joins the Justice Gang, and I know he wears his shorts when he's out, but if you don't have him put on like a Beltline logo, he would be the only member of the gang who doesn't wear Lord's logo, so it's kind of the perfect setup. You've got one of Superman's boys in Metamorpho, under fire, an investigation that would draw the world's greatest detective, Pattinson, to Metropolis, and a Justice League level threat for the world's finest in their first team up. This is basically taking Mark Waid's World's Finest story that Ultramorpho debuts in and mixing it into the DCU's boundaries that we have after Superman. So I do think that we would see not only Batman and Superman in this movie, but Robin and Supergirl too at their side. That's the core for kind of Waid's run, but probably you won't have the young love between the proteges, since it'll probably be Damien's Robin instead of Dick Grayson's. Finally, since Amazo is historically a Justice League villain, I think using him here in a World's Finest movie is simply the perfect setup to bring him back once the team is formed. He can be disassembled or even locked up in the Fortress of Solitude at the end of the movie until he returns, and then when he returns, you've got two founding members of the League with experience fighting the android. And so that's going to do it for today's video. I know I'm reaching a bit here, but at the same time, Ivo does kind of feel like a villain that Gunn would be intrigued by. Let me know if there's another villain you think Gunn will use in his next movie, though, down in the comments below, and make sure you have a great day.